Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a closer look at a really interesting new release. It's been getting quite a bit of buzz.
Oh, yeah. Which one is that?
It's the Europe-exclusive Seiko Prospex Alpinist Night Sky, the SPB531.
Ah, the Alpinist.
Mhm.
Always a fan favorite. And a European exclusive, you say. Interesting.
Exactly. So we've got this great article here, and our mission today is basically to unpack the history behind the Alpinist line itself because it's quite rich.
It really is.
Then dive into the specific features, the design of this new Night Sky edition, and, figure out what makes it special as a limited release.
Sounds good. And I think this deep dive is a great chance to see how a brand like Seiko connects its long legacy with modern design choices and, importantly, their market strategy.
Right.
You might get some aha moments about how they keep that tradition alive. Yeah, I mean, technically the Laurel from 1913 is older, but for a continuously produced concept or line, Alpinist is way up there.
Right. And what's really fascinating, maybe something not everyone knows, is its original purpose. It was Seiko's first professional watch,
That's the key point.
designed specifically for Yama-Otoka, mountain men. So
Yeah.
not just a fashion piece, it was a tool, right?
Exactly. And that origin story, that focus on rugged use for climbers,
Yeah.
it really set a standard. Durability, utility. It's why it still appeals, I think.
Makes sense.
We saw it come back strong in the 90s, remember, with the Sarb series.
Oh, yeah, the Sarbs, cult classics now.
Totally. They really cemented that modern alpinist look. And then, more recently, another strong comeback. You've got the signature style, the compass bezel everyone recognizes, even some really practical GMT versions now.
So it raises the question, how does a watch stay relevant for, over 60 years?
Well, that initial purpose-driven design gives it real roots. It adapts, but the core idea remains.
Okay, so keeping that rich history in mind, let's pivot to this specific new one. The Prospex Alpinist Night Sky SPB 531. And again, only for Europe.
Right. The exclusivity factor.
Now, the article we're looking at, it says quite bluntly, quote, "There's nothing spectacularly new about this Night Sky edition other than the color scheme."
Okay.
So what's your take? Is that a bit safe, maybe a little uninspired from Seiko, or is there more to it?
That's a fair question, but I wouldn't call it uninspired. Look, the Alpinist collection, especially building off the SPB 121 and its variations, it's already really appealing. It works.
True.
So Seiko knows they have a winner. This isn't about reinventing the wheel. It's more about psychology, maybe,
Yeah.
scarcity, aesthetics.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes a unique colorway, especially a limited region locked one, can generate more excitement among collectors than, say, a new movement. It's that fear of missing out, the FOMO effect.
That's a really interesting angle, focusing on the impact of the change, not just the change itself.
Exactly. Subtle changes can have a big impact on how exclusive or valuable something feels.
Okay, let's get into the nuts and bolts then. The core specs.
Mhm.
Dimensions: 39.5 millimeter diameter. Thickness is 13.2 millimeters. And the lug-to-lug is a very reasonable 46.4 millimeters.
That's a great size. Really versatile.
Yeah, it's made of steel, nice mix of brushed and polished surfaces. Looks tough, but, refined enough.
Right.
And of course, the big Alpinist signature, that extra crown down at 4 o'clock.
With the internal compass bezel. Yep.
Which actually works. You rotate it with that crown. Classic stuff. Then you've got the usuals: screw-down main crown, sapphire crystal, AR coating,
Good clarity.
and solid 200 meters water resistance. Pretty robust for a field watch.
Absolutely. Those specs really tie back to the whole mountain man origin, but they make it perfectly wearable today. That 39.5 millimeter diameter, it's a sweet spot for so many wrists.
Yeah, it's not huge like some divers.
No. And the 46.4 millimeter lug-to-lug keeps it feeling compact. It wears really well. And 200 meters WR is, frankly, excellent for this kind of watch.
And the compass bezel. Practical or just cool?
Well, let's be honest. Most people aren't navigating mountains with it daily. But having that original tool feature, it's part of the charm, the heritage. Like you said, classic alpinist.
So if the build is classic, then what really makes this SPB 531 stand out, as the article mentioned, is the look, the dial and colors.
The night sky theme.
Right. Inspired by, quote, "the night sky over the mountains." So you get this lovely dark blue dial, subtly brushed,
Nice.
classic applied markers, numerals at 12, 6, and 9. No, wait, numerals for the even numbers, triangles for the odds, I think, except 12.
Yeah, the standard layout for this series.
Hmm.
Applied numerals and triangles.
And the hands are luminous cathedral style, easy to read.
Very classic look.
And here's a detail I liked from the article. The second's hand is gold-toned.
Oh, interesting. Adds a bit of warmth.
Yeah, exactly. A warmer touch against the cool blue. It also has hours, minutes, hacking seconds, so you can set the time precisely.
Standard, but good.
And a date window, it's under a magnifier, a cyclops, and it's got a black date disc.
Good choice. Blends in with the dark dial better than a white one would have.
Definitely.
You know, it's interesting how that color scheme does more than just look good. It actually tells a story, doesn't it? Connects right back to the Alpinist name. Brings mountains and night skies to mind.
Yeah, it's quite evocative.
And that gold, second's hand. It's a small thing, but it shows thought. Adds warmth, maybe a touch of elegance. It connects emotionally, I think.
Okay, let's peek under the hood. What's powering this?
Right, the movement.
Inside the case, visible through a see-through case back, which is screwed down, by the way, is Seiko's own caliber 6R35.
Ah, the 6R35. Solid choice.
Automatic movement, and it has a really decent 70-hour power reserve.
Yeah, the 6R35 is kind of Seiko's reliable workhorse for this price range. And that 70-hour power reserve is genuinely useful.
How so for the average wearer?
Well, think about it. You can take the watch off Friday night, leave it sitting all weekend, and pick it up Monday morning, and it's likely still running.
Right. Convenience.
Exactly. Less resetting. It's just a practical benefit that shows, good engineering for daily life. Adds real value.
And what about wearing it? How does it come on the wrist?
Good question. Straps are important.
This special edition actually comes with 2 straps, which is pretty cool. Delivered in a special box, too.
Nice touch. What are they?
First up is a navy blue leather strap. It's got a crocodile embossing, so it looks quite smart.
Okay, a dressier option.
Yeah. And then second, you get a textured blue nylon strap. More casual, rugged looking.
Better for actual outdoor stuff or just a different vibe? Versatile.
Definitely. And both straps have a steel 3-fold clasp. The lug width is 20 millimeter.
Standard 20 millimeter. Perfect. Makes it super easy to swap in other straps if you want to experiment later. Lots of options out there.
Good point. Okay, so let's talk availability and exclusivity again. How hard is this going to be to get?
The $1 million, well, maybe the €900 question.
Ah, right. So it is a limited edition. Only 3,000 pieces are being made.
Okay, 3,000. Not super rare, but limited enough to feel special.
And, crucially, available only in Europe. That includes the UK, by the way.
Right, the regional lock. That's the key driver here.
Availability starts September 2025. And the price, UR 890, GBP 780, or CHF 930.
That pricing seems pretty much in line with other 6R35 Alpinists. Maybe a small premium for the limited nature and extra strap.
Seems about right.
And, this whole approach, the regional exclusive like the Night Sky Alpinist, it's a smart market strategy from Seiko.
How so?
Well, it creates specific demand in Europe, obviously, but it also makes it instantly desirable for collectors outside Europe. People always want what they can't easily get.
Right, the scarcity factor again.
Exactly. It builds buzz, desirability, collectability, all without needing a brand new movement or case design. It leverages the existing model's strength and adds that layer of exclusivity.
So wrapping things up, this Seiko Prospex Alpinist Night Sky SPB531. It seems like a really nice blend. You've got the deep heritage, the proven design.
Absolutely. The mountain man roots are still there.
But then you have this specific, quite attractive night sky look and that layer of limited regional exclusivity.
It's Seiko refreshing a classic, staying true to its core, but adding a twist that makes it feel current and desirable.
A testament to their ability to manage a long-running successful line.
Definitely. And leaves us with something to think about.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Well, as you reflect on this,
Yeah.
what do you think is the real appeal deep down? Why does a watch designed for a specific, harsh place like the mountains become something so many people want for everyday city life or just to keep in a collection?
Good question. Function versus desire.
Maybe. Think about that mix, the functional design roots, the story the aesthetics tell, and then that layer of market exclusivity. How do those things play together to make a watch like this so coveted, something for you to mull over?